The reason why poor white people continue to support Donald Trump, even though his policy directly makes their lives even worse, is because they don't actually vote for politicians on the basis of policy. They actually vote for ideology. Donald Trump embodies whiteness and he upholds white supremacy. And for a lot of poor white people who have accomplished nothing in life, who have very little access to opportunity, upholding something that gives them worth, even though it's based on the one thing that they had no control over, even though it's based on a lie, is more important than fighting for a system where everyone benefits. And this is why there's always a sort of state of confusion when people say, how can you vote against universal health care? Why would you not want more money going to schools? Why are you okay with a politician blatantly taking your tax dollars and pocketing it, rather than using it for the greater good? When poor Europeans came to America, they received a benefit in America that they were not afforded in Europe. And that was whiteness. And all they had to do was abandon everything they learned in Europe, abandon their heritage, their language, their customs, their traditions, anglicize their names, and they were afforded every single privilege that they did not have in Europe. They could be entrepreneurs, have access to loans, send their children to good schools. They were finally on the top of the hierarchy. And I don't think people realize how much success in building wealth and having money is tied up into whiteness. It is a political term that was born out of capitalism. And so for these white people who have not actually succeeded under this system, whiteness means everything to them. This is why you have poor people who are so against systems like socialism, even though it would give them more power. It would give them more agency. That would actually require that they give up the one thing that they value the most, the one thing that gives them value. And if that means worshiping someone like Donald Trump, while he destroys Social Security, makes their lives more unaffordable, makes it more difficult for them to access healthcare, that is what they're willing to sacrifice. See, the reason why poor white people continue to support Donald Trump, the reason why poor white people continue to support Donald Trump, even though his policy...
White supremacy versus class solidarity. Let me give an excerpt. This has to do with the retaliatory mobs that took place following Nat Turner's rebellion. Harriet Jacobs wrote, "It was a grand opportunity for the low whites, who had no black people of their own to scourge. They exulted in such a chance to exercise a little brief authority and show their subserviency to the slaveholders, not reflecting that the power which trampled on the colored people also kept themselves in poverty, ignorance, and moral degradation." Also worth mentioning up here, I knew nothing annoyed them so much as to see colored people living in comfort and respectability. So, as early as the 1830s, I mean, this was published in the 1860s, but we have record, we have documentation, we have reflection on this exact phenomenon, right? In the hierarchy of the South, black people had to be on the bottom, and the poor white people and the white women were essentially the instruments of the oppressors, right? From a poor white person perspective, to confer to the power of whiteness over that which could actually materially make your life better or improved, it's not coming into consciousness. I just find it really interesting, in a time and with an administration that really wants to turn everyone's eyes away from history while also enacting that same history.
The reason why...
Backup dancer at your own... I voted for Donald. Hit that like button before we even start, because I'm about to hurt some feelings. Poor white Republicans, y'all are the dumbest motherfuckers alive. I mean that with all due respect, which is none. You broke, can't pay a $600 emergency bill. You got one good tooth left in your head, but you still voting Republican like you on the damn board of Exxon Mobil. Brother, you ain't Exxon, you Exxon's janitor. Imagine being poor and Republican. That's like being a backup dancer at your own funeral. You putting in work, but you ain't even in the program. You busting your ass working 12-hour shifts, and somehow you convinced the reason your life sucks is because of Jamal on Section 8 and Maria cleaning hotel rooms. Meanwhile, the politician you love just gave your boss another tax cut big enough to buy a second yacht, and your ass can't even afford a second freezer burrito. Lyndon B. Johnson said it best. Convince the lowest white man he's better than the best black man, and he won't notice you picking his pocket. Republicans took that quote and turned it into their whole damn business plan. They've been running that scam longer than Walmart been selling expired ground beef. Let's look at the numbers, because the shit's hilarious. The majority of poor people in America white, and most of them live in red Republican districts. That means half of y'all mad at black folks you don't even see. You live 30 miles from the nearest city, but Fox News got you thinking Lil Durk himself is carjacking your John Deere tractor at midnight. Man, stop it. The only crime in your county is your cousin stealing copper wire out the old Walmart parking lot. And the economy? Harvard economist Raj Chetty proved poor white kids today are less likely to move up than their parents were. Translation, you ain't just broke, you raising broke too. Meanwhile, poor black kids, we actually moving up a little. Not because America loves us more, it don't. But because at least some of us figured out the hustle. Y'all double down on it like blackjack dealers with a drinking problem. Think about it, you can barely afford a MAGA hat, but you'll rock one like it's Gucci. You out here voting for a billionaire with gold toilets who tells you he understands your struggle. My man ain't even pumped his own gas since the 80s. He don't know struggle. He thinks struggle is waiting for the maid to iron his tie. And y'all in line like, yes sir, that's my God. That's not patriotism. That's being in an abusive relationship with your political party. And don't get me wrong, the Democrats, they full of shit too. They'll smile in your face, promise you student loan relief, and then send you another email asking for $10 before midnight. But Republicans will rob you, call you stupid, and you'll thank them for it. That's pimp shit. That's iceberg slim level manipulation. They pimping y'all harder than a 70 seconds blaxploitation film, and the soundtrack ain't even good. Here's the human part though. I know you love your families. You want dignity. You work hard, harder than most, and you deserve better. But damn it, y'all keep voting like y'all own mansions when you can't even afford an oil change. That's not just dumb. That's tragic comedy. That's Shakespeare in a trailer park. So let me break it down. Racism ain't why you broke. Immigrants ain't why you broke. Woke ain't why you broke. You broke because the same party you worship been draining your pockets while they blame everybody but themselves. And until you figure that out, your grandkids gonna be just as broke, wearing the same MAGA hat you pawned to buy ramen noodles. So next election, try this. Vote for someone who might actually do something for your broke ass. Or don't. Keep cheering for the rich man who wouldn't even let you in his country club parking lot. Either way, I'll be here laughing, roasting, and telling the truth. Hit that follow button. This is Marcus Farrell Live, where the truth is funny, the comedy is brutal, and the facts hurt worse than your credit score. Hit that like button.
How are all of you doing who decided to vote for Donald Trump in this past election? I vividly remember the day after Donald Trump got elected. There were so many people on this app dancing around saying that they're no longer going to get drafted, that they are going to be able to afford the house, that they are going to be able to afford more things and have an easier life now that he has gotten elected. We are essentially a year and a half into his presidency. We are at war. We are seeing gas prices skyrocket. Things are not getting cheaper. Our grocery bills are especially not getting cheaper. So I'm just curious, to those that genuinely thought that their lives were going to be better when Donald Trump got elected, how do you feel right now? Have things gotten better for you? Have things gotten worse? Have you noticed a difference in your life, especially when it comes to spending?
So why do you think that 50% of white women are likely voting for Donald Trump?
Because they're fucking racist.
And what do you have to say to those women?
Get out of Cracker Barrel and come into 2024.
And the only reason people voted for Donald Trump, they saying is because the cheaper eggs and groceries and the prices are up and blah, blah, and blah, blah. But the real reason they voted for Donald Trump because he touched their racist heart with everything he was saying. Y'all voted for Donald Trump out the racism and the hatred out y'all own heart, but swear to God to be Christian. Oh my God, who said that?
If you voted for this man and you're white or anything else, this is what you voted for. This is exactly what you want to see happening. Because you know what? You don't want him to take your place. You don't want to be the minority. You don't want the white man to suffer in America. You don't want to feel like you're not included or like You don't want to feel like it's not all for you and everything and about you. That's why this is what you voted for. You rather have a white supremacist than to have somebody who makes sense in charge of y'all. I had to watch what I said and how I said, because y'all know I like to get community guidelines, strikes and stuff. You know they like to do me like that. However, if you're not black or Hispanic, I already know this is what you voted for. But if you're black or Hispanic, you voted for kids to be zip tied. How you gonna feel when they grab you and try to say it's gang related activity and they make excuses for it and they put your kids in zip ties and they over there screaming while they ripping them from your arms? How that's gonna make you feel?
I understand people's need for like Trump. If you're poor, Trump represents like this.
An aspirational.
Yeah, and the way, because I grew up like around people that went to like mega churches, like poor people, like they just couldn't pay like medical bills, that had like pointed to a minister in a mansion with a Mercedes, and but I understand the need for that. Rappers did that for me. Like I'm like I couldn't afford the things they were talking about, but like through proxy, I'm like, oh, I feel confident. I feel that.
This one goes out to my white folks. Y'all, if you are someone who is wondering today how Donald Trump can remain this popular in 2024, it is worth remembering that this nation, the United States of America, was built on stolen land by enslaved people for the purposes of protecting the feelings of fragile, racist white men who are determined to control the bodies of women and people of color and anyone else who does not match their mold. Same as it ever was. And I'm only addressing you now because everyone else already knows this.
The reason why poor white people continue to support Donald Trump, even though his policy directly makes their lives even worse, is because they don't actually vote for politicians on the basis of policy. They actually vote for ideology. Donald Trump embodies whiteness and he upholds white supremacy. And for a lot of poor white people who have accomplished nothing in life, who have very little access to opportunity, upholding something that gives them worth, even though it's based on the one thing that they had no control over, even though it's based on a lie, is more important than fighting for a system where everyone benefits. And this is why there's always a sort of state of confusion when people say, how can you vote against universal health care? Why would you not want more money going to schools? Why are you okay with a politician blatantly taking your tax dollars and pocketing it, rather than using it for the greater good? When poor Europeans came to America, they received a benefit in America that they were not afforded in Europe. And that was whiteness. And all they had to do was abandon everything they learned in Europe, abandon their heritage, their language, their customs, their traditions, anglicize their names, and they were afforded every single privilege that they did not have in Europe.
The reason why people like Trump so much is because he says the quiet part that a lot of racists feel out loud, and he exemplifies what it means to be able to have controversial opinions because he is a white, successful businessman. White successful businessmen are able to get away with a lot more than the average American, specifically socially and especially politically, in having racist opinions, in being oppressive towards women, and in literally being a pedophile. He is able to get away with all of these things because of his money and because of his status. And that is what a lot of Americans, specifically men, specifically white racist men, are drawn to, because he is able to get away with saying the things that they wish they could say. However, they cannot because of their socioeconomic status.
Okay, I think I've finally realized why white people love Donald Trump so much. As I was watching the response to the blue wave yesterday and also the response to the No Kings protests. And I'm going to make up a term here, white plot against us-ism. It's a close cousin of white victimhood. And the idea is that when things go right for us, white folks, that's perfectly normal. That's how things should go naturally. But when things don't go right for us, it's like someone is obviously plotting against us. Usually, if you watch Fox News, it's George Soros. I mean, how a 95-year-old guy is able to organize every protest, every caravan out of Central America, everything that goes wrong for Republicans, somehow Soros did it. But the point is that Trump tapped into this white grievance so deeply. And at the core, it's a control thing. We don't feel comfortable submitting to any authority that's not white. Therefore, when non-white authorities rise to power, like during Reconstruction after the Civil War, like President Obama, we always see massive white backlash, which is what led to the rise of Trump in the first place. And this is a major thread that we trace in our documentary, The Sins of Our Fathers, Race, Religion, and the Rise of Trump, because until we learn to share the spotlight with people who are not like us, we will never break free of the cycle of hate in this nation.
The reason why poor white people continue to support Donald Trump, even though his policy directly makes their lives even worse, is because they don't actually vote for politicians on the basis of policy. They actually vote for ideology. Donald Trump embodies whiteness and he upholds white supremacy. And for a lot of poor white people who have accomplished nothing in life, who have very little access to opportunity, upholding something that gives them worth, even though it's based on the one thing that they had no control over, even though it's based on a lie, is more important than fighting for a system where everyone benefits. And this is why there's always this sort of state of confusion when people say, how can you vote against universal health care? Why would you not want more money going to schools? Why are you okay with a politician blatantly taking your tax dollars and pocketing it, rather than using it for the greater good? When poor Europeans came to America, they received a benefit in America that they were not afforded in Europe. And that was whiteness. And all they had to do was abandon everything they learned in Europe, abandon their heritage, their language, their customs, their traditions, anglicize their names, and they were afforded every single privilege that they did not have in Europe. They could be entrepreneurs, have access to loans, send their children to good schools. They were finally on the top of the hierarchy. And I don't think people realize how much success in building wealth and having money is tied up into whiteness. It is a political term that was born out of capitalism. And so for these white people who have not actually succeeded under this system, whiteness means everything to them. This is why you have poor people who are so against systems like socialism, even though it would give them more power. It would give them more agency. That would actually require that they give up the one thing that they value the most, the one thing that gives them value. And if that means worshiping someone like Donald Trump, while he destroys Social Security, makes their lives more unaffordable, makes it more difficult for them to access healthcare, that is what they're willing to sacrifice.
Hi, good people. How are you doing today? It's a beautiful Wednesday morning where I am right now, and I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you have had some pleasant sleep from wherever you're watching me from. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and I hope that you have been well, you've been keeping safe. And yeah, I'm happy to have you on my channel today. So guys, on today's video, you have already had a glimpse of what we're talking about. You have watched the videos that I have collected for you, and you automatically know what we are talking about here. And I know you have feelings about this topic. You have things that you think about this topic, and you as a black person, as a white person, as an Asian, as someone from whatever race, you know, you have your thoughts, and you know, you have been thinking about this thing for some time now. And guys, the question was simple. Why do white people, white poor people for that case, why do they still keep insisting on supporting President Trump? Yeah, the fact that you are a poor person doesn't matter if you're white or black, because the things that you're going through should be, you know, a wake-up call to you. They should inform your kind of decisions, and they should inform everything that you do every other time. Now, white people will support Trump whether they are poor or whether they are okay, you know, or rich. Yeah. Now, most people have been asking that question. Why is it that these people always do this to themselves? Because sometimes, and most times, we actually talk about the things that you know, like during the campaign times, people used to talk about the things that, you know, President Trump has done in the past, the things that he plans to do to Americans. And most of these things were not actually good. Yeah, there were other candidates that had lots of better things that people were actually supposed to vote for, but turns out that they will not vote for those things, even though those are the things that were supposed to make their lives better. Yeah. And you wonder, why would someone vote against their own interest, against things that are going to help you, things that are going to be good for you, for your family, for your friends? Like you're going to live a better life. That is exactly what you're saying. You're going to live a better life. You're going to lead, like, if you're working, your money is going to make sense. If you have some cash, your investments are going to make a lot of sense. If you have kids in school, it's going to be not very expensive to educate them, to help them get to college, like all those things. If you have loans, you're going to be able to pay because you're getting good money that is helping you to do these things. Now, you wonder why a white person would vote against their own interest, because these are things that were supposed to help you as a person. They are supposed to help your people and to make sure that you live a better life. Why would you not vote for that? The reason is simple, that these people are all racists, and they choose, especially Trump supporters. I find it very hard to believe that there is someone that is a Trump supporter that is not racist. Why I would say that is because when people were voting in Trump, most of the people were actually voting on the basis of race. And they were talking about, their life is going to be better, and that Trump is a white man, so he's going to favor them, he's going to help them, he's going to put them first ahead of every other people, and that is black people especially. Now, Trump, you cannot afford to support Trump and all the things that he stands for, his ideology, the things that he actually stands for are racist, yeah? Because in no way are they meant to make the life of a black person better. They're not meant to, like in his world, black people do not exist, and if they do, they do not matter. So you cannot afford to support such a candidate and then say you're not racist. I personally find it so hard that is a possibility. But I know you people who might be having a different thought. Let me know about that, and give me a reason why you would support this man, and why would you vote for him. Yeah, why would you vote against your own interest? Even if you are okay, maybe you are rich and you have all that it takes, and you do not exactly care about the other people, why are you not thinking about the other poor person? These white people that are poor, there's a lot of black people that need help. There's a lot of people that cannot even afford medical care, and they need good medical care. Why would you vote against that? Why would you vote against yourself getting good medical care? I wonder, like, that has never really clicked, and I've never been able to wrap it around my head that people actually can do injustice to themselves. It's better when someone is doing it to you, but when you're doing it to yourself, it's another level of dysfunction in you, yeah, as a person. So guys, for me, I really think the reason why these people do whatever they do is because they're just racists, and they want to satisfy that part of them, and they want to be comfortable in America, doing anything. Because if your president is that kind of a person, that he can do ills to black people and he doesn't care about them, then it's very easy for you to thrive in such a place, because no one is going to hold you accountable. If that is the person that is in leadership and he's doing the exact same thing that you want done to black people, then you are not going to be held accountable for anything. And that is what most Americans want, most white people, that is what they want. And yeah, so that is the question, guys. Why do you think? And I'm really scared and skeptical about white people and some black people, by the way. I will not stop saying this, because I am well aware from statistics, from a lot of research, that when we're talking about white people voting for Trump, it's not only white people. There are very many black people that actually voted for him. Yeah, not as many as the ones that did not, but still, why are you voting for him? Why did you vote for him? As a black person, that automatically doesn't make any sense, and I don't know what you can say to convince people that you actually voted this guy in for whatever reason. I don't know those ones. I totally don't understand. For white people, I could understand, maybe they want to feel a certain kind of way, they want their own, you can try to understand them. But for black people, you are voting for that guy and you know that he's racist. Maybe, probably because they think that if they do that, they will be having like proximity to power, by extension. No, it doesn't work that way. And especially not Trump, because this guy doesn't care about you. He has shown you in his action, in his spoken word, he has done it, countless times, that you need to understand and accept that he is not for you. He doesn't like you. He will not like you. He doesn't care about liking you. So whatever it is that you want to do to please him, whatever it is that makes you think, if you vote for him, if you support his whatever things that he wants to do, that maybe someday he will come around and start to help black people, you are wrong on that. Just get over that. It's not going to happen. Get over that and let it be. Let it sink in your mind that this is not the guy for you. Find someone else. Get your life together. That is not the way to go, because now you have compromised yourself, you've compromised your people, and everyone else is being affected right now. Look at the situation right now. Very many people are complaining, very many people are crying. They cannot afford food, they cannot afford shelter, they cannot afford clothing. People are going hungry because of what you did as a black person, as a white person, as whoever, Latinos, Asians. You voted this guy in, and now this is what is happening to you and to other people. It is better when you're suffering for something that you did. For example, the people that voted him in, it can actually seem better that you are suffering for something that you did, which is actually a shame though. But you have put other people into suffering for something that they knew too well and they warned you about. Let's not go this direction, because this is not good for us. When black people were talking about let's not vote for him, they were thinking about everyone. They were thinking about Latinos, they were thinking about Asians, they were thinking about white people, they were thinking about black people and people of the other races, yeah? And even immigrants. That was all that they were thinking about, because they did not want a situation where there's a group of people that are actually suffering. Turns out that you people, and I'm talking specifically to the people that voted President Trump in, I understand and I respect the fact that you have your right to vote, you have a choice to make, and you're an adult, you have that ID, and you can do whatever it is that you think is good for you and for the country. But as you make that decision, just know and always remember that you're not making that decision for you. You're not making that decision for just yourself. It's not to satisfy you. You're deciding for millions and millions of people. And if you make a wrong decision, your decision is going to affect everyone else. And that is not fair, especially for the people that have warned you about it, and then now they have to suffer alongside you because you did not listen. It is not fair. Next time, guys, let's have one meeting, listen to each other. If it's white people saying whatever about this candidate, please listen to them. If it's white people that are complaining that this person has done with a lot of evidence that they have done this and this, so they're wrong for us, listen to that. Make sure that you're coming together and making a good decision, because this ultimately will affect all of you. It will affect everyone. It will not discriminate. It will not choose whether you're white or black. It will discriminate all of you. It will put you all in trouble, and you will suffer for the consequences of your actions. So guys, if you're new to my channel, if you have never seen me, never seen this face, never been on this channel before, my name is Furaha, and I'm so happy to have you on my channel today. I hope to see you a lot more in the coming days, and there's a lot of videos that I have done in the past. If you're interested to this kind of content, you can go to my playlist. I have a playlist ready for you. Go watch the videos that are in there, get acquainted with what we do on here. And always remember to leave a comment, a like, a share on every video that you watch, because that will help the other person that has not watched this video to get it. Now guys, returning subscribers, thank you so much. You guys, I just lack words. I wish I could hug all of you, because you're amazing. And on top of just watching my videos every other time, you come to the comment section, leave a comment, share the videos, leave a like, give it a thumbs up, a super thanks. And most of you, what actually makes me even happier is the fact that you come on there and leave a comment for me, specifically for me. I mean, well, on this earth would I find people like you. I really adore each and every one of you. Thank you so much for the mad support, and I hope that you are safe wherever you're watching me from and you're coping well. I know times are hard. I know things are not exactly working out as you'd wish, but I want you to be hopeful that things will be okay, things will be better, and that is basically just what life is about. And I am not worried. I know that things will fall back in place and we will be just fine. So guys, keep safe, love your neighbor as you love yourself. I'll see you on my next video. Bye for now.